thank you for allowing us here today, Dr. Sam. I'm Christina Kleine from Epoch Times in Sweden. And before we go into what's happening here in Visoko, I would like to talk about your background and actually going to your childhood. I would like to ask you how this interest started.
First of all, thank you for coming to Bosnia. Thank you for the contact that you made a few months back. Thank you for coming to my lecture to Uppsala. And finally, thank you for showing up here in Visoko in the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. So my name is Dr. Sam Osmanagich. I have all my education done in the city of Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. My elementary school, my high school, my faculty of economics, faculty of political sciences, faculty of sociology, my master's in international economics, my PhD in the Mayan civilization, the history, sociology of history. And my childhood, late 1960s was the era when the first rockets went to the moon. So majority of the kids during my time wanted to be the astronaut, wanted to explore the universe. So I was one of them. So I would say only the sky was the limit in my thinking. And then as I was going through my education, I always wanted to learn a lot about different things. When I was teenager and during my 20s, I was reading a lot. And probably you remember, if we wanted to find out about something, we did not have Google or Wikipedia. Today the kids go to Wikipedia about one term, they read 2 sentences and they think they know everything about it. In my time it was different. You want to learn about something, you read the book. So I would be reading 100 books per year after year after year, from different fields. It can be psychology, it can be science fiction, it can be philosophy, it can be history, it can be art, it can be science, math, astronomy, different things. But somehow history was becoming my favorite, because more I would read, more I realized that there are some gray areas. It was not exactly what I was thinking it was true. So when I started traveling, I realized that actually most of it was not truth. For example, Machu Picchu in eastern Peru. Everybody writes about it in encyclopedia, all other scientific references, that it was a royal retreat for Incas. Now, Inca lived in the area from the 12th century to the first half of the 16th century. When I went there, I could see that Machu Picchu consisted of 4 distinctive civilizations, 4 different construction styles. The first civilization, they were using blocks of 250 tons, not from the area, but from Bolivia. So the first one was the most superior. The second one, they were using big blocks, tens of tons, and they had 6, 8, 15, 20 angles, 20 sides. They called them polygonal blocks. So they were not rectangular or square, polygonal, like the puzzles. Who was able to move tens of tons, and at the same time they were, installing them. The third civilization was even more inferior. They were using blocks 500 kilos, 2 tons, like ancient Roman building. And the fourth, the last civilization, Incas, rediscovered the lost city. So what they did, they used the small stones, primitive. They were separating different areas using those big walls. They were putting very primitive roofs. And this is where they were bringing their royals. So I realized the science talks only about the last period, which was the most primitive. So in that case, you can see this is not what they teach us in school, evolution. Before we were primitive, inferior, today we are the most intelligent. No, it was opposite. The first one were the most developed. And then, it was going down and down and down. So when I started looking at different places around the world, I realized that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong.
So I wonder, because there is, you can find buildings in the oceans deep down. How did they come there, and when did they?
Yes, you are right. You know, in 1960s we went to the moon, or at least this is what they said. According to Stanley Kubrick, he actually filmed the whole deal in the deserts of Arizona. But if we really went to the moon, if we really go, you know, around our planet, how come we don't know our planet even, you know, so much and so good and so deep, and we want to explore the universe? I realized that it was not only last few thousand years, like they are telling us in the schools, that civilization exists. You know, you read the books, they will tell you the first civilization, Sumerians, 5,000-6,000 years, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittite, ancient Egypt, India, China. But in reality, this is just the last civilizational cycle. Before this one, there was another one, which ended 12,000 years ago with the end of the last ice age. At that time, there were huge global catastrophes, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes on unimaginable scale. 99% of humans were wiped off from the face of the planet. And majority of those big cities from different civilizations were destroyed. Of course, the story about the Atlantis, the mysterious land of Atlantis and Atlanteans, come to our mind. Did they really exist? And where? And when? And how did they disappear? According to the geological proofs, there was a huge island or small continent in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And exactly 12,000 years ago, it disappeared. Why? Because it was of the volcanic origin. Huge rocks were coming from the cosmos, hitting this continent, and it went down 3,500 meters below the sea level. And it seems that a lot of structures disappeared forever. Caribbean, today Cuba and some others, according to the sonar investigation, there are pyramids there also. But on the other side of the world, near the coast of Japan and their island of Yonaguni, back in 1995, the divers discovered big, regular, square blocks made from granite. And then a lot of diving was done from 1990s up to today. 13 underwater cities were discovered between the coasts of Yonaguni Island in Japan, Taiwan, and the mainland China in this triangle. And they are connected by the 500 kilometers stone roads that are on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. In Indian Ocean, between India and Sri Lanka, there was a land bridge when? Before the end of the last ice age. And now we can even see it through the satellites. What happened? During the ice age, huge quantity of water was in the ice, in the solid material. But when this ice melted, then this water became liquid. It went into the world's oceans and seas. Pacific went up for 80 meters. Atlantic, 120 meters. Small Adriatic Sea, which is nearby, 750 meters. So a lot of cities went under the ground and were destroyed.
So today we actually talk about that the ice is melting. And there is a discussion why it's melting. But we also have Antarctica, and this huge region that's quite difficult to discover for some reasons. Do you know anything about this?
There's actually two questions when you say the ice is melting. During the summertime, we receive reports from media that huge quantities of ice really are melting and what's happening, global warming, CO2 and stuff like that. Well, let's go real deep into the substance of those claims. When it comes to CO2, most of the people don't even know what is the percentage of CO2 in the atmosphere. They think it's maybe 10%, 20%. It's wrong. 150 years ago, the CO2 was 0.03%. It's very minor. Today, after 150 years of first industrial revolution, second industrial revolution, third technological revolution, fourth informatic revolution, after all this revolution and chimneys and factories, it is at 0.04%. So it is minor growth. It's almost nothing. And they are telling us that so much CO2 caused the global warming and the climate change. And that would be wrong. Scientifically speaking, our planet goes through the cycluses, the same like civilizations. In the last 100,000 years, 5 civilizational cycluses. And they were always interrupted by huge global catastrophes. 12,000 years ago, we had global flood, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. 18,500 years ago, 34,000 years ago, huge solar eruptions from our sun, 54,000 years ago, and 75,000 years ago. Then it was a huge volcanic eruptions in Indonesia. So we have those 5 cycluses when it comes to the human civilizations. When it comes to our planet, in the last 2 million years, we had change of 10 ice ages with the warm periods. Warm periods are usually 8 to 12,000 years. And guess what? Now it's almost 12,000 years, meaning the global period is coming to the end. So the next one that is going to hit us will be actually the ice age, maybe in 100 or 200 years, or maybe 20 years. What's happening on the planet now? We can see that the climate does change. 3 years ago, I went to Peru talking to the people. The people told me, hey, listen, the summers are not like before, the winters are not like before, so there was a change. I went to Guatemala, I went to Malaysia, everybody was saying the same thing, and I could see here in Bosnia the same thing. For example, this winter we had snow 8 times, but 2 or 3 days, not like before 1 month, solid snow 2 meters, not like that. So there is a change. There is some warmer periods, even though 2023, 2024 brought the coldest winters in Norway, in Warsaw, Poland, in Moscow, in Siberia. So in the summers they are telling us ice is melting, is disappearing. In the winters, we never had such a surface under the ice like this year, 2024. So these are the facts. And the media mainstream will not tell us about that. But in general, I would agree that there are some changes. What does cause this change? Number 1, magnetic field of our planet. Number 2, the solar activities from our sun. Number 3, lava under the ground. And number 4, humans. We are only number 4, so we are almost minor. What to expect? What I think what's going to be happening are extreme weather. Like in the warmer area, take for example Middle East, countries like United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi. 25 years ago, their temperatures in the summers 40 degrees, 45, 42. Now 55, 60. So it will be more and more extreme. And in some other places like Norway or like Poland or some others, we will have a period of extremely cold weather. So it will be less and less, continental climate. It will be more and more extreme weather. And eventually it will all end in the new ice age. So this is basically my view on your first part of the question. And the second question was what?
It was about the Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
You said one intriguing thing, that people actually cannot go there and investigate. In this world, the nations do not agree about anything except for Antarctica. They signed agreement 60 years ago that there will be no humans on this continent. They will be not going there, no free, travel or anything like that, only scientific research. And Antarctica has been divided to different nations, Norway and US and Denmark and UK and stuff like that. So you and I, we cannot just go there and travel. Of course, we can do some cruise that touch the ice of Antarctica, you can wave and that's it, but you cannot go there. Lately we can hear stories about the pyramids in Antarctica. They're talking about 3 pyramids and the photos are very intriguing. We can see 4 sides and 4 triangular faces and 4 corners. So it does look like a true pyramid, artificially made. Is it? We don't know because we cannot independently verify. But maybe even more important thing, in 1947, American Admiral Byrd, he went to Antarctica with about 25,000 soldiers. So US Navy was there, US Air Force was there, and in the first report given to the Argentinian daily, he said that they were defeated by more advanced army. They were using some, ships, some, flying ships and stuff like that. They had much more superior weaponry. They were, they lost the battle. By the time he came to the US, he was forbidden to talk about it, and eventually he ended up in the mental hospital, and nobody heard about him anymore because he was becoming a danger for the system. So it seems that we indeed do have some possible civilization there. Where exactly? It seems there is an opening exactly at the North Pole, which leads to the world which is green, with the inner sun, and things of that nature. Is it possible? I think it is possible if we remember reports from 1930s when the Germans, after Hitler came to the power, 1933, 1936, 37, they started sending many ships to Antarctica, building bases, and even today we have the name for a certain area, New Schwabenland, New Germany. And it seems that they were cooperating with that civilization. And according to some reports, in 1945, when Hitler was escaping his bunker in Berlin, official version, of course, that he killed himself, but there are some books and some very interesting reports from people from Denmark who saw him, flying from Berlin to Denmark and then going to the submarine and then going all the way to Argentina. According to some, he left submarines there, but the majority of the German officers, they went all the way to Antarctica to cooperate. So is it possible? It is possible, but we need to have more independently verified reports. So Antarctica, it seems it is very, very interesting. And of course, lately, people who are talking about the flat Earth, they are saying there is a huge, ice wall there, which actually goes around our planet, preventing us to go to the other side. And on the other side, there are some islands. Again, I don't know if it is truth or not, but people write about it, and they kind of helping us to be very creative and develop our imagination.
Do you have any idea why these kind of ideas are popping up right now?
Well, every secret, no matter how hard people try to prevent it, to leak to the public, it always depends on people. And when people are coming to the age when they feel they should not keep this as a secret, just they feel, the end is coming, then they start talking. Same thing goes for Stanley Kubrick, the famous movie director. Before he died, he filmed a video with him where he was explaining how he was shooting the, moon landing in the deserts on our planet. So I think That's because of that. People are releasing those information because they think that the world should know. And indeed, I don't think that the elites, as they call them, but in most cases these are just a group of monsters who wants to control and manipulate humanity. They think by having the monopoly on certain information, on previous civilizations who are visiting us, on real builders of Egyptian pyramids, real Bosnian pyramids, or Antarctica, and different topics like that, they think that they are privileged to know about those information and to get the knowledge and to get the technology which they can use either to, getting more and more richer, or traveling through space and time, or finding the way to live forever, or things like that.
Mhm. Before we come to talk about Visoko, I had actually a question related to what we have been talking about. If these elites are trying to poison the world in different ways, how are they going to escape the poison?
That's a good question. What normal people can see is that we've been poisoned literally from everywhere. They spray us from the air. Of course, people can try to deny, no, Wikipedia said it is not chemtrails. People can try to deny, but we are poisoned day after day from the air. And they poison the soil, they poison the food, they poison the water, they poison us with those, nanoparticles, with aluminum, which goes through our head, attacks our nerve system, our brain, and things like that. We can see that our water has been poisoned. People say, no, it is treated by the chloride to kill microbes, viruses, bacteria, fungi. But the chloride is a poison. We've been drinking the poison all our life. We've been cooking on poison. We've been taking showers with the poison all our life. I just got here from the UK. In UK they add fluoride. Fluoride, until 50 years ago, it was exclusively poison for the rats. So we drink that, they're saying it's good, to protect our teeth. It does not protect our teeth. But what it does, again, it attacks our brain. Then in our water, it goes through metal pipes. It melts metal. This is what we drink, particles of heavy metals. To our kitchens, it comes through plastic pipes. And this is, what we drink, particles of plastic, which causes the cancer. And then pharmaceutical industry, they have, best time of their life, because once we get sick, then they start treating us with more poisons that hide the symptoms, and they don't actually do anything with the cause of the sickness, disease, and so on. Plus, they generate side effects. Your blood pressure goes up, your sugar goes up, your respiratory problems, your cardiovascular, and so on. So we can see that water, food, air, soil has been poisoned. Through media, they poison our minds. We are what we drink, we are what we eat, we are what we think. And if we keep thinking about the wars, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, or Israel, Gaza, or anywhere else, fires, injustice, killing people, and they do that purposely. They bring us only the bad news. So it attacks us and it keeps us scared, it keeps us in this physical reality. So we don't have a touch with what is the most sophisticated in us, and that would be our spirituality. If we have the access to our spiritual senses, if we have our pineal gland open, then we would have the window to our spirituality. But because of the fluoride, it closes our pineal gland and fluoride and so on. So those monsters or elites, they realize how to keep us in this physical reality only, how to manage everything based on the fear. Now, your question was, if they poison everything, then they're going to poison even the land where they live. They're going to poison their water. They're going to poison their food. Of course, the food is GMO. It is present everywhere. You go to US, it is more than 99%. Sometimes you go to supermarket, organic food, $5, regular $1. You buy organico, $5. I protect myself. Later on, you realized that they were cheating. Actually, that was also GMO, or at least pesticides, apples that they sell as bio or organic. 28 times it's sprayed by pesticides. This is what we eat. Poisons. Well, anyway, are they going to poison themselves? Of course they are. So the question is, why they are doing that? The only logical answer would be, they are not in charge. So Rockefellers, they are not in charge. Morgans, DuPonts, Rothschild Paris, Rothschild UK, Rothschild Napoli, Rothschild Barcelona, they are not in charge. They are very close to the top, but there is somebody else, much more powerful, and they need to listen. If they don't, they're going to be replaced.
So, the life is short, and many of them are old. So what do they get by selling themselves to this?
I don't know what is their motivation, but whatever it is, I think it's stupid, They want to be more powerful, more money, more... Why? I mean, you can live in one house. You can go maybe to another one, but you cannot live in 10 houses at the same time. No matter how big and how fast your airplane, you can live only in one house. You can drive only one car. Okay, you can change 1, 2, or 3, but 50 doesn't make sense. Just showing off doesn't matter. I mean, the purpose of the life is not to grab, because you will never have enough, and this is their case. The purpose of the life is to share, to live the fulfilled life, to love and be loved, and you are happy, regardless of how much you have. That's not the point, to have much. What is much? Enough? Yes. Some people have little, that's enough for them. It makes sense. So only when you share, only when, you receive support and the love and good positive emotions from other people, then the life makes sense.
Thank you. So I will now come here to Bosnia
Yes.
and to Visoko, the place that you have been working with and on for many years, and created a fantastic view and place to come to and to discover. Can you tell a little about it? And then, in the books we can read about it, but can you also talk about your path, what have happened with you during all these years? So, yeah.
Yes, gladly. This life is obviously a journey. And I enjoy this journey. I don't try to. I do enjoy this journey. Once you realized that the life in this physical body, which is for one use only, is short, like you said, but then you realize that we all consist of 3 entities. The first one is physical. And with the physical body, with your muscles and bones and the blood and the skin, comes your emotional body, comes your intellectual body, comes your energy body with the 7 energy fields. It all belongs to this body, but this is just the first entity. The second entity is our soul. My soul hurts. It's right here, behind the chest. The soul is almost forever. At one point in the time, in the long distance, we became separated from Creator. This is what he did. So he was sending unlimited numbers of souls to universe to go through the journey, who will eventually enrich him or her, the Creator. In the meantime, we go through many different life experiences. Sometimes experiences are on such a low vibration that they belong to the mineral kingdom only, and then to the plant kingdom, and then to the animal kingdom, and on this planet to the human kingdom. And it's not just one time, but it goes through many different lifetimes. So this particular experience, yours and mine and his, should be treasured. No matter how many challenges, people use the word problems, how many challenges we have. Every day we need to make decisions. We are faced with the tests. We make decisions. Sometimes decisions are easy. You have good or bad. You pick up good. Sometimes it's really difficult. Remember 2020, 21, 22, Corona time. You have to make a decision. They were both bad because they came with the price. Once when people are saying, no, I don't want to be part of the experiment, so, there was a price to pay. You could not travel, you could not work, you could not walk outside, you could not go to shopping malls, you could not go to the gyms, you could not go to movie theaters, you could not go see anyone, you could not go see your parents. It was the price to pay. Or there was another choice. You'll be able to do most of it, not even everything, most of it, but you need to become a part of the experiment. You don't know what you're getting. You only know that it is experimental, it is genetical, and it is pharmaceutical. Coming from the companies that they've been showing so many times that they don't care about the humanity. Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, they lost the most, court stuff in the last few decades. So they are showing, many times the judges were saying, for example, Johnson & Johnson, they had $100 billion income, the same like Pfizer. They were saying, one more time, you have shown that you take care only about the profit, not about the humans. So what I'm saying, this was a choice. So sometimes choices are not very simple. But then when you make a choice, you either keep your dignity or not. So this is this lifetime. And only when you have hard choices, then you progress. Then your soul progress. Then you go from one grade to another one, and then from elementary to high school and faculty. And finally, once you go through all this education on this planet, then you move on. And then you go to another one, which vibrates a little bit higher, if you deserve. If you did not deserve, you go back. So another galaxy, another universe, and so on. So the second entity, the soul, has its wonderful journey through different life experiences. And the third entity in us is what can be called spirit. What is the spirit? The spirit is a very tiny flash of light, part of the divine. So this is our direct link to the Creator, to the God. So that's why the meditations are so important. That's why they've been removed from the Bible, meditations. You're not only closing your eyes and relaxing, but you go deep. And then you can communicate with your soul and all experiences it has, and then even on deeper level with your spirit. And then you touch the divine in you. So imagine, this is very exciting when we think about it. So I would say this experience for me was really wonderful, and from the very beginning I realized the global importance of what we do in Visoko. I started the project and I realized it's not only about the pyramids, it's much more than that. Well, back in 2005, it looked to me that discovering the pyramid, which is the first pyramid in Europe, the biggest on the planet, the oldest on the planet, the most extensive underground tunnel network on the planet. It was huge. Well, archaeologically, yes. But then we have moved from that archaeological field to other scientific disciplines. So this has become the interdisciplinary scientific project. Classical sciences like archaeology, Egyptology, geology, paleontology, biology. We moved to high-tech geothermal analysis, satellite analysis, georadar analysis. So we went to do dating. It was very interesting for us. We did 28 radiocarbon dating. We did luminescence analysis. We did uranium thorium analysis. So we are going so far back, 30,000 years. It's been scientifically confirmed. Extremely exciting. But then we went further to energy aspect. Physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, medical doctors, people with the scientific instruments who measure. They go to the tunnels, they measure stuff. They are amazed. Wow, look at this, look. So, archaeology, science, energy aspect, spiritual aspect, healing aspect. So it was growing and growing, and now you've been visiting the park and you realize, hey, this park is so beautiful, but 10 years ago you could not go there because there was no access road. It was all neglected, swampy, muddy land. So I spent all my US savings. I spent 25 years in Houston, Texas, and then we started clearing, cleaning, water drainage, planting, and then building 65 different installations. And then, in Bosnia, people tend to make beautiful nature very ugly, throwing trash, garbage everywhere. But we are proving that another extreme is possible. From neglected, make and transform it to the most beautiful park in Europe. And this is what we've been doing. On daily basis, we've been adding more and more installations, keeping it clean and organizing, people coming, and we have different events, festivities, concerts, and stuff like that. So, from archaeology to culture to sport to festivals to yoga to meditations to different concept of living. And this is what we offer. Of course, we realize what's happening around us. We realize that we've been poisoned. We realize that the wars have been generated. But we are saying, hey, we don't need always to rely on the governments, because so many times they have proven that they don't care about us, ordinary people. They care about themselves. From Babylon and Egypt, India, and ancient Rome. So it was always about their greed, how to satisfy their greed, how to accumulate material stuff and power and control and the money, and how to control us through the money. And today they are thinking how to control us through digital money and digital wallets. They don't even want to give us, money, cash, which we can use freely. No. You're going to be fully controlled. You want to spend the money, I want to know where you're going to spend it. And not even that. If you are a free thinker, then we're going to block your account and you won't be able to get your money back. So this is the idea. So they're saying, no. This is not the future for humankind. The transhumanism, this is not the future for us. Upgraded human, biochip. They're saying, oh, it is very good, you have this chip, and then they can alarm you if your sugar or blood pressure goes up. Wow, very practical, let me do it. They don't realize that with this chip, they can turn you on or off as they are willing. So it is about our personal freedoms. And this is what we have here. We are building oasis of freedom.
Yes. The other day I saw a group of young students coming here. I think it was a school class. Tell a little about your cooperation with the education system.
Yes, people from kindergartens are coming here. Last year we had 145 schools, elementary schools coming here. Sometimes 30 kids, sometimes 700 kids with all their teachers and employees. They come, they spend the full day here. They are in a secure area. There is no contamination, there is no traffic, there is no danger. They have water for free, they have toilets for free, they have, beautiful place with all these installations for free. They can play, they can have a really good time. And then a few days ago, probably you're referring to that, we had students from the university in eastern Sarajevo. Before the war in Bosnia, 30-something years ago, there was just one Sarajevo. Now it's eastern Sarajevo, mostly the Serbian population, and you have Sarajevo. And since I was, I lived here before the war, it kind of hurts me to hear, oh, this city is divided. But this is reality now. It's been more than 3 decades. We have kids, who are born there, who came here, and who we receive with the open heart. Students, their teachers, we show them that it's not what the media is telling them. These people across, we should hate them because they hate us. They're saying the story is different. We should cooperate. This is the future of all our parts. First of all, of our little countries, Bosnia, Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Macedonia, Montenegro, and Bulgaria. We are all people who used to speak the same language, the same culture, the same tradition. We would laugh to the same things. We would cry because of the same things. So our cultural background is little different than background of people from Belgium, from Tanzania, from Japan. I respect everyone, I'm cosmopolitan. But when I see how much injustice was done to us from ancient Rome, from some medieval, Western European countries, Austria-Hungary, from Turkey, they were all coming here, conquering, getting our stuff, our minerals, and they were making little provinces from us. And they were saying, okay, these are your enemies, you should make war between them. I'm saying, no, let's forget that. I know it's tough, but our future should be in cooperation, in friendship, in sincerity. So you start with this area here, and then you expand to the whole Europe and to the whole world.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed students have been here? I mean, like university students, coming back or contacting you, explaining what had happened when they have visited?
Yes, of course, they do come back, and but students, university and high school and elementary school, they come, they see the beauty of the place, they talk to their parents, then next weekend they are here. Or university students, they come with their girlfriends or their friends, 4 or 5 of them. They keep coming back because they see that we are sincere, that we are good intentional, that we are not fake, and they like that.
Yeah. So during the years here with your excavations, you have also met quite hard resistance from people with, let's hear.
You see, one thing people should learn in their life is when they are coming with the new stuff, there will always be resistance. For example, you graduate chemistry, you go to work for the company, you have some new, fresh ideas, you go to those people, you talk to them, and you realize that majority of them want to keep the status quo, people who've been there for a much longer time. And it is like that in any field of human activity. It can be music, it can be culture, it can be business, it can be politics, it can be... In our case, it was archaeology. Now, the bigger the idea, the bigger the resistance. And imagine us, one small country, Bosnia, with no, archaeological experience whatsoever, with no archaeological discovery of global importance, all of a sudden, first pyramids and the biggest on the planet. That was big. The oldest on the planet. And then we changed the narrative. Pyramids were not built for one dead body, king or the pharaoh, like they've been claiming in Egypt, which is totally false. They were built as energy amplifiers, energy machines, and that energy can be used even today, with the scalar waves through the top as the communication device, in the tunnels with combination of different energies to protect what's the most precious to us, our health. Water, we improve the molecular structure of the water. This water vibrates high, and we are what we drink. Food, it improves DNA of the seeds of the plants. Immunity, it goes up. Development of spiritual senses. So this is the revolutionary change of the narrative. So what we are bringing year after year, in the beginning it was just the archaeological aspect, discovery of the structures. Today it's a change of the narrative. So many feel threatened. Because if archaeologists and historians and geologists and museums, if they teach the kids, the students, the public, through media, through classes, through lectures, one story, now all of a sudden we are coming with entirely different one, which is based on scientific arguments. They feel threatened. Their books, not good anymore. Their professorships, the way they teach our kids, it's wrong. So this was, and it still is, it's a big, big change. But people have to realize, it doesn't matter if you have 7 years or 57 as the deans of the Faculty of Economics or presidents of some archaeological institutes, or 77 if you are retired. We need to behave like we are students of science. And science is there to bring the new information, new discoveries. And with those new discoveries, we change our history books. 50 years ago, Encyclopedia Britannica claimed that the first developed civilization were Sumerians 3,500 years ago. And then, based on the new evidence, 20 years ago, they changed that to 5,000. Today, they are saying 6,500. But we can already see that Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, 11,600 officially. And when I spoke to Dr. Carl Schmidt, he told me 15 to 18,000. We can see Machu Picchu, 50,000. So, science is there to bring us new information and to change or to advance our worldview. And this is what we do. But make no mistake, I know that what we have now is much more advanced than the knowledge of Egyptology in the last 200 years. So maybe we can look progressive. But 50 years from now, people will be laughing at us how little we knew. So once you are aware of that, of progress and evolution, there is a hope for the humanity.
I was thinking about the museum you have here. There is tools inside there. Especially someone round with a hole in the middle, and you can hold it with some kind of... Can you talk a little about that?
Well, this is an artifact that we discovered in the Rane tunnels back in 2007. While clearing the tunnels, in the filler material, we found that intriguing artifact, and it is ergonomic because it can fit your hand perfectly. It is symmetrical. There are some symbols which we really did not decipher them. Just by looking at it, we knew that it was made by intelligent hand. It was not natural. So somebody made it. Who? We don't know. It's really hard to say who, because it is sandstone material, so there is no way you can do radiocarbon dating. And then one day we had the guy coming from Germany, and he claimed that he had ability to see the energy fields around us, or auric field. But he said there is not only one, but there are like 7 fields, and they are between 6 and 10 meters in radius. He also claimed that he can see the colors of those energy fields. And then, he's a dowser also. He has dowsing rods. And he would look at somebody, he said, okay, your energy fields are about 8 meters. And then he said, okay, now walk from me, and he would have his dowsing rod, and while Thousand Road was affected by his energy field, it was staying down. The moment he went out, an energy field was not affecting Thousand Road went into another position. So he was talking to different people, he was showing them that he knew what he was talking. It was rather interesting. Not very scientific, but it was interesting. And then when he took that artifact in his hand, he was keeping like this, he said, what I can see is that my energy from the auric field is going toward this artifact. And then there was a woman standing like 1.5 meters from him. He said, okay, a piece of your auric field is missing. And he aimed this artifact towards her. And he said, now I can see the energy is transferring from this artifact to her, repairing her auric field. This was very interesting. That is very hard to really verify that, but it was an interesting story. And if he can really see the energy, and probably we all have the ability, nobody is teaching us how to use them. If he was right, then it was some type of the healing device. And we named it, and it says in the museum, Energy Healing Gun.
So, but was this a ceramic thing or just a stone?
Well, it looks like a sandstone, but it also looks like what we call the ceramic blocks in the tunnels, that they've been made. Like a big K2 block is been made. K1, from K1 to K5, they've been made. So this one, it's also very possible that it has been made in some type of the mold, so they are making those healing devices.
So now with this huge project, it's been more, how to say, okay, it's a project. Is there any progress towards, how to say, the society who have been resisting before?
Well, yes, there is. You know, a lot of people who were against the projects, archaeologists, geologists, museums, they never came here, so the resistance is still there. But then many more people who are either neutral or who didn't know, they've been coming here, accepting it, or accepting some of the aspects. And, you know, just before this meeting, I was with a leading football club from Bosnia. A lady came who never been here, and she's bringing some very influential and powerful people from the business world. They are coming tomorrow, 10 of them. And of course, they will be probably very exciting with what they see. And the last few days, I've been having groups from different countries, from Denmark, from Sweden, from Netherlands, from Belgium, from Czech, from Slovakia, from Bulgaria, from Croatia, from Slovenia, from many, many more people. You know, in 2008, we had 10,000 visitors. In 2018, 40,000. In 2023, 195,000. In a few years, I expect 500,000. In 10 years, I expect 1 million. So the project grows. The visits, they grow also. So we expect to have more and more influence on, media, on researchers, on general public, and eventually on historians, archaeologists, and so on. So it's coming. It's a huge discovery, and it doesn't matter one lifetime. What it does matter is that everything we do, we use scientific methodology. It can be verified. Everybody is welcome to come. We're going to give them the samples. They can do radiocarbon dating. They can come with their instruments. They can measure. So everybody is welcome to do that.
Mm. So when so many people are coming to these sites and going in the tunnels, are the energy from the tunnels and pyramids affected by, because we human beings have also energies?
Of course. First of all, I'm glad that people come because pyramid energy affects them. They've been touched by the pyramid energy. In most cases, it's very beneficial. Some people come, they are open-minded. Some people heard good stories about it, they come here. Some people have some healing troubles, They come. And just today, when I was taking this delegation, I met some people and I started talking to them. I asked them if they came because of the healing challenges. They said yes, and they are feeling much better. So, you talk to people randomly, and then you can hear the reasons why they're here. A very small percentage of people, for example, you have couple, wife, she wants to come here, she doesn't have a car, so she forced the husband, please take me there. They come here, and you can see sometimes the husbands or opposite. The husbands are, they're not very happy to be here. When they go to the tunnels, they provoke, they don't listen. When they come back, they are even worse than before. Why? Because the pyramid energy amplifies what we bring with us. Mm-hmm. If we are open, if we are good intentional, if we are positive, or even if we are sick but we want good to ourselves, we're going to be affected in a very positive way. And the opposite, people who are against, they'll be even more against. So that's fine. People make their choices in their life. I'm not here to force anything to anyone. We try to explain. And your question was, how about people who bring their own energy? I would say the majority of people are still good intentional, and their energy is good. And people who bring their energy, which is not so good, which is negative and stuff like that, I think there are enough positive forces in the tunnel to dissolve that bad energy.
Oh, even though it's maybe come 500,000 or 1 million people.
Yeah, but they're not come in 1 day or 1 month, they are coming in 12 months. So, 1,000 people a day, it should be a big problem. Because we do have even 2,000 last August or August before that. And the tunnels are still strong. And the matter of fact, the more tunnels that we open, energy is getting stronger. For example, the concentration of beneficial negative ions. They clean our body from viruses, bacteria, fungi. They, get our pH to be alkaline. They help us with our bodily organs, the heart or any other organs, stuff like that. So they help. The more negative ions, better for us. In our homes, 20, 30 negative ions per cubic centimeter. In our cities, 100. In the mountains, 1,000. In the tunnels, 20,000 to 60,000. In the summer. In the winter, it goes to 100,000. A couple of years back, it was 100,000, and that was the biggest concentration that was measured at the Niagara Falls, Canada and the US, and I personally measured it in Great Zimbabwe during the storm. And they had those, in Great Zimbabwe, big conical towers made from granite. So you could see electricity and negative ions were very high. But in 2023 in November and 2024 in March, we measured the values more than 340,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. So these are by far the biggest on the planet. So what I'm saying, deeper we go, energy starts flowing stronger and stronger. So even with the more people, I think that as we continue our work, the tunnels will remain very strong. And maybe that's the reason why so many people are coming. But then, comparing to Egypt, 2023, 15.5 million tourists coming to Giza Plateau. 15 million people. Now, that's a big business. In our case, 100,000, 200, few 100,000, so we are fine.
So, do you think that this complex of both tunnels and pyramids are like a sleeping energy that is slowly awaken, or how?
That's a nice description. Originally, the tunnel network was probably more than 100 kilometers on several different levels. So far, we discovered 7 entrances to prehistorical tunnels on 2 levels. So I believe there are at least 3, 5, maybe even 7 levels of tunnels. So what we have cleared, I would suspect maybe 3%. 3.5 kilometers, 3%. more we clear, energy is getting stronger. So I would say, coming here from Ravne tunnels towards the Sun Pyramid, energy is getting stronger, and other parameters, electromagnetism, the Schumann resonance, and stuff like that, it's getting stronger, it's getting healthier. It cleans us, not only the physical body from microbes and sickness, but also our spiritual body. So I would say, as we are getting closer to the pyramids, we are getting more and more ready to experience what the original builders did at the very beginning.
So, for example, if you today get $1 billion, would that be good for this project to get this money right now? Or do you see that there is a natural process?
What we have so far is very organic process, basically without the help from the Bosnian government. And we have 5 levels of the government here. Only with the help of 2 first levels, municipality and the canton, with the permissions. But money-wise, minors, almost nothing. Without the help, and me being the biggest donor, and people coming here, paying for the tickets, buying few souvenirs, not much money, but it helps. It all helps. Volunteers coming, digging, it helps. So we have done huge work. I mean, it's a miracle what we have achieved for the short period of time. Remember, Egyptology, Egypt, pyramids, temples, 200 years. And they still don't have answers who really built them, when, how, and why. And in less than 2 decades, we have most of the answers when it comes to why, and when, and even how. So, if I had $1 billion, I would not accept $1 billion. I would accept what we really need. For example, we need $15 million to go from where we are right now in the tunnels and to reach the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Looking at the topographic map, the tunnels, top of the Sun Pyramid, so tunnels at 476 meters above the sea level. When the Russian geophysicists were here, they used geoelectrical equipment. They told us there is a network of tunnels 288 meters below the top. And it's the same level like the tunnel entrance here. So the idea is to connect with those tunnels below the pyramid. For that we need about 15 million. So I can hire about, let's say, 200 people, 200 maybe coal miners who are experienced, who can work, enough people to work 7 days a week, 2 shifts, and then it would go much quicker. And eventually we would reach that goal when it comes to these tunnels. It would be nice also to clean one side of the pyramid, about $10 million. The major problem is it's now a protected area. They don't let us work there. But with the help of some other factors, maybe the government will change their mind and let us clean one side. That's 10 million, 3 seasons, 1,000 people, 50 archaeologists, clean one. And you can see it from the highway. You're looking at the concrete structure. That would be real nice to have. Then we have many other tunnels to clean some of them also. Then we have tumulus, a conical artificial hill, not far from here, 5 kilometers. It is also part of the project. And over there we found a chamber 54 meters below the top. It would be nice to make a little tunnel. For that we don't need much, 200,000 euros. So I would not accept 1 billion, but I would make project, and I said for this project this is how much I need, how much you need here and here and here. And we follow year after year, and we go from one successful discovery to another one.
So do you have any idea or dream or imagination what it could be inside, in the center of the...
Well, when it comes to question, what is this? What was the purpose? I think that we have already answered it. It is an energy machine. It produces different types of energies, which can be used for, like I said, communication, health protection, water, food, and so on. So, but is it more than that? Probably it is. Do we know all the forms of the energy? We don't. Do we have scientific instruments to measure them? We don't have it. You know, we have dowsers coming us, they're saying, oh, on a Bowie scale, this is 25,000, this is wonderful. What is the Bowie scale? It's a dowser scale. Well, I'm scientist, I always want to see, verification in the scientific terms, scientific instruments. We don't have instruments for that. It will be nice to figure out what type of energies we are looking for, so we can make instruments and things of that nature. So it's probably much more than that 5, 6, 7 or 10 purposes. We know also that standing on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and watching the shadow of the Sun Pyramid during the different time periods, the top acts as the astronomical observatory. The shadow of the Sun covers the western slope of the Moon Pyramid in the middle of the summer. So it is like the rule of the Sun, and the day is over, rule of the night starts. And we know that the ancients were always looking at the Sun and the Moon as the major cosmic objects, but also other star systems. So we need to, try to research that part also. Elements of sacred geometry, very important, the spiral, golden section spiral, triangles, hexagons, they are all incorporated in this Valley of the Pyramid. So much to learn. Unfortunately, pyramid researchers in Egypt, in Mexico, in China, in Peru, in other countries, they don't have such an interdisciplinary scientific approach. They just look for the pieces of ceramics and primitive tools they are trying to explain. How it was built, it is impossible. So, even in our case, it is still much to work on pyramids, on pyramid purpose. And in order to do that, I don't need to uncover the whole pyramid. This is what you asked me. We don't need to uncover everything. It would be nice to open as many tunnels as possible. Now, you ask me what is below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. There are chambers, not one, not 2 or 3, there are probably dozens of chambers, but their purpose was not to hide sarcophagus or the treasure. The true treasure was the technology. If the pyramid is an energy machine that lasts forever, imagine clean energy, unlimited quantities of energy, free energy. That's what the pyramids are. And then interstellar communication. This is what the pyramids are. And then when you have more of them, they help to stabilize the earth from volcanic eruptions, from earthquakes, from the change in the frequency system. So this is so important. So that would be nice, to really investigate. It would be nice to have a team of 100 people, physicists, nuclear physicists, engineers, with a bunch of equipment who goes and measure. And for that, I don't even need to be inside the pyramid, but it would be nice to be in there. Are there any other artifacts? What I suspect when I look at the world of pyramids, because some of the Egyptian pyramids are still energetically active. I know that because I filmed, for example, Khafre pyramid. I suspect that there was, besides the shape, the geometry, the water flow, the quartz crystal, orientation, and other elements, I suspect that there was some pieces of technology that would maybe calibrate energy, maybe create specific frequencies, and maybe even more amplify this energy. And I think that those pieces of technology are gone. That's what I suspect. So if we find some chambers, eventually, if not my generation, 2 or 3 generations along the road, I hope they're going to find the chambers, but most probably they're going to be empty, exactly like Egyptian pyramids.
So I'm sort of coming to the end, I think, but I have one more question. And I'm thinking, you have talked about that this was a pastime, an era when humankind maybe was more or were more advanced than today, but it was also pastime. It was in other society, and we are coming to an end with a huge circle now, and we are in the threshold for a new era. Maybe this new era have a completely different kind of way of dealing with energy. This pyramid is maybe old, even though it's opening us for our own inner intelligence.
Yes.
I mean, also the human body is a fantastic instrument that not yet have been discovered fully. So do you see, like, for the future, that what you do also can bring totally a new opening for something completely different?
When we think about the past, that's how they teach us in schools, was before we were primitive caveman level. Now this is just a part of the truth. What I can see in the past, I can see episodes of advanced civilizations, but also of primitive Paleolithic man, Mesolithic man, Neolithic man. And they were living together. It's like today. If you go to the central parts of the Amazon, you're going to find the tribes that live on the, Paleolithic level. You show them the cell phone, the mobile phone, they don't know what to do with that. You go to Papua New Guinea, the same thing, very primitive level of organization. So I believe that in the past we have had that situation very, very often. Some intelligent societies were building megalithic structures, pyramid structures, structures like Stonehenge, Avery stone circles, Karnak, thousands and thousands of megaliths, pyramids around the world, Mauritius, Canary Islands, Peru, Bolivia, Guatemala, Honduras, Sudan, Egypt, China, Bosnia, Spain, different countries. They were harnessing the energy. And today we have civilization, we deem ourselves the most advanced ever. We are using still coal mine, production, oil and gas and nuclear. And they are all really dirty industry, limited resources, and very expensive. And through pyramids, like I said, you have unlimited and clean and very sophisticated and free. So it's a big difference in the concept. And on this planet, it has always been a fight for the energy. Dinosaurs, kill their prey and they eat it, and that's the energy. What we do, how do we feed our cars with the energy? How do we feed our light bulbs with the energy? How do we feed ourselves? We raise the animals, we kill them. So it has always been about the energy. But to be more sophisticated, we have to find more sophisticated ways to get the energy. And I believe that in the past, yes, we did have civilizations, even on this planet, who were much smarter than we are. Are we at the threshold of the new golden era? It is possible. Our brain is one of the most complex machines in the universe. Our abilities are so vast and we use so little. Our spiritual senses, 30 of them, we don't use at all. We don't feel the energies, we don't see the energies, we don't see the colors, we don't communicate with our thoughts, telepathy, we don't move objects with the power of our mind, telekinesis, we don't move through space and time, astral projections, we don't use it at all. So our abilities are so big. If we start using them, then we would realize that we have no limits. And no limits is exactly the definition of the freedom. No limits. Why do you see on that blue flag in the park that bird with the wings? The bird is flying. It has no limits. And the heart, love. So love, freedom, peace. So these are the messages that we send from here to the world. They are very powerful. And I believe that, yes, the next generation of humans should have those goals in front of them trying to reach them. No place for the monsters, no place for inequality in distribution. They are saying 8 billion people, too much resources, this. We can have 100 billion of people, but the question is distribution. So majority, 90% of the people struggle in daily life trying to pay the bills. And you have 0.0025% of super billionaires. Somebody saying, oh, they are at $200 billion, Musk or Zuckerberg or Gates. 200 billion. I mean, what do you do with such a fortune? You cannot have 50 yachts or 50 planes or 50 you cannot. Instead, when you see how much money is spent for the military, if you take 10%, US is 900 billion. Chinese, they are saying 80 billions, we know they are 800 billions. Russians, 100 billions. UK, 100 billions. 10% of that should remove the hunger from the world. As you and I talk, and I talk much more than you, obviously, as you and I talk, every 3 seconds, one child dies because of hunger, dirty water, or curable disease. Imagine, every 3 seconds. So as I talk, the child in Niger dies. The child in Togo, in Benin, in Chad, in Somalia, in Southern Sudan, in Ethiopia, in Yemen, so many dead kids while you and I were talking. But that's a shame. If somebody is looking us from above, we are not advanced civilization. We are civilization of violence and war. And we let the same species die from curable diseases because of our unequal distribution. That's a problem with our civilization. It's not a problem if Russian hates Ukrainians or if Gaza. No. The major problem is those powers behind the scene, and they've been there for thousands of years. They've been exploiting us. And through the media, they were saying, no, the problem is somewhere else. The problem is religions. The problem is different nations. The problem is different races, the different countries. The problem is we have those forces behind the scene who own more than 90% of the resources of this planet. Unequal distribution is the major problem in this planet. What we need is social equality.
I have something more. It's okay?
Yes.
Everything you have sort of talked about, what I recognize, is about consciousness. But there is also something like going together with consciousness or being a part of consciousness, and it's a moral stand. I mean, you talked about what human being has as a ability inside us, supernatural abilities or natural abilities. How we open it, but how we're going to do it, because if a evil person is going to have them, it's not possible, or is it possible? And I think that when we reach a certain level of moral standard, spiritual knowledge, wisdom, then this will come natural. What are you saying about this?
When I was in my 20s, when I started writing the books, when I saw so much injustice on this planet, I thought in my books I'm going to change the world. I'm going to tell how the world should be changed and what should be done. And boy, I was so wrong. I mean, nobody listened. And then with the time, as I was becoming more mature, I realized there is only one thing we can do. And that is to change ourselves. You change yourself, you become aware. You become your spiritual being. And then you start affecting the others. And this is how we change the world. We don't fight the forces of dark. This is what they want us to do, because this is what they know how to fight. We don't do that. We simply light the inner candle that we have in us. Many people, especially during the Quran time, are saying, oh, we can do nothing. We feel helpless. We have government and army and police and ministries and media. They're all against us. We can do nothing as individuals. Wrong. We are majority. So imagine one little candle here and there and there and there. Thousands and millions and billions. And then we give the light to the world. And darkness is gone.
Thank you very much,
You're
Dr. Sam.